Beautiful woman looks at the poor. His eyes were beginning to blur, said the beautiful woman with embarrassment. Seems to be inviting the poor to spend the night with her. The poor are dazzled and flattered, but after a while, he refused, because he remembered his wife. The beauty is gone. The poor man went back to his room. Tell the rich you found the girl. The rich said is right. The poor man said you were very clever. Makes me miss my family. Let's go home. So they stopped traveling around the world. Flew home. Before go home, the poor negotiate with the rich assistant. Sent the rich man to his daughter's house. It turns out that the rich remind the poor of their families. Poor people want to help him, too, but his kindness, in exchange for the anger of the rich man refused to go in to see his daughter, and angrily tore up the bucket list and left. He went back to his mansion. Luxury without a trace of warmth. He called for more women to fill his emptiness, but he couldn't help it. Cried at the glass, and the poor returned to their families, to regain the warmth of a family, and rekindled his love for his wife. His wife had a love surprise for him this evening. The poor man is so nervous, but wait till his wife comes out dressed, only to see him fall to the ground. When the rich got to the hospital, he learned that poor people's cancer cells had metastasized to the brain. The success rate was extremely low. The rich come to see the poor. He shaved his head ready for surgery. When the poor man's wife walks away, the poor call for the rich, gave him a piece of paper. It's written inside, the mogul's favorite civet coffee. It's actually made out of masked palm civets. Rich guy just finished reading. The poor man burst out laughing. They looked at each other and laughed happily. All the tears came out. Then the poor took out a bucket list, crossed out the laugh to tears line. It turned out that the piece of paper, shredded by the rich man, had been glued by him. Then he gave the list to the rich man. You're gonna have to do the rest alone. The poor man's operation was unsuccessful. He passed away during the operation. The rich man left the hospital, and ended up listening to the poor. Knocked on her daughter's door. There are no imaginary quarrels. His daughter had already understood him. That's when he found out. Turns out happiness is within reach. And even more surprising, the daughter called for his little granddaughter. The rich man saw his granddaughter for the first time. So happy he didn't know what to make of it. He hugged her nervously, kissed her, so he crossed out the first written wish. Kissed the most beautiful girl in the world. At the poor man's funeral, the rich also crossed out a dying wish of the poor, to really help a stranger. Because he's the stranger, the poor helped him to find his happiness. A few months later, the rich also died. His assistant came to the summit of Mount Everest, put his ashes and those of the poor in secret graves here. They finally fulfilled their last wish to see the spectacle of gambling. The ancient Egyptians believed there are two questions to be asked when a person dies, to decide if this man will go to heaven. One is if you have ever found joy in life. The second is whether you have brought the joy of life to others. Let us ask ourselves, and made us believe, the two best friends, they'll see each other in heaven.